in heathenry is probably one of our biggest values. It's kind of everything I mentioned in my Blot, Sumble, and worship video, which will be in the description below. When we pass around the horn, say something over the horn, it represents earth as well, and we are putting that energy, that worth, into the well, which is where the word worship comes from. It's to give worth. It's definitely a very important part of our worldview, which is kind of an inverse to what the Abrahamic beliefs, the martyr worshipers, how they perceive their own self-worth. I would say that across most cultures that at least I'm aware of, this is applicable. It's just that in heathenry, we are more aware of it because it's so integral to what we are and what we do. Like when I say we are the sum of our actions, that is entirely about worth. So defined, worth means what you deserve, your usefulness, your importance, your value, right? And everybody's going to have a different worth to somebody else. Obviously, my family is very important to me and they are worth a lot, whereas a stranger's family isn't going to be worth a lot. I might empathize a little bit and understand that that person has also a certain amount of worth that they feel toward their family as well. But ultimately, a complete stranger is not going to be as worth as much to me as my family or my kindred or friends. That's really where that inner guard and outer guard come into play. And if you're unfamiliar, inner guard is the people that are closest to you. These are the people that you value the most. And anybody that's really in a healthy situation mentally has multiple inner yards that might overlap. Obviously, your kindred is going to be one of them, but you might have a kindred inner yard, a family inner yard, maybe a hobby inner yard, maybe even a work inner yard if you're close enough to the people. There's nobody that has just one. You don't have one in-group. So culturally, the overculture, which is largely Judeo-Christian over here in the West, a lot of the times with your martyr-based religion, you're taught that you're not worth a whole lot. You're taught that you're a sinner, you're dirty, the only hope you possibly have is to give yourself to this ultimate presence. And that's not something that exists within heathenry. In heathenry, your value comes from you. Your value is based on the interactions around you and how much value, how much worth you have built and proven to other people. So a little bit about myself and my personal journey with self-value and worth. If you follow me, you know that I didn't have the most positive upbringing. My parents always showed me love. They were never abusive or anything like that, but they were addicts and moved around a lot. They weren't together. I actually don't remember them being married the first time. The second time they got married, I was 14. We actually got baptized together, but that's a story for another day. When I was young, I did not like myself. I actually remember sitting in my room, which I would retreat to quite often. And this is at my grandparents' house where I actually had a room. And I would, play with my action figures, whatever. Escapism was pretty important to me. And I would make myself cry because I didn't perceive myself as having that much value. I thought that I was terrible at things and that I would be terrible at things, and I would just berate myself to the point where I would cry. It really wasn't until I was about 13, 14 years old when I met a friend of mine who was into working out and showed me that you can better yourself through effort. I have been in martial arts since I was 9, but I was in Taekwondo, which honestly is the McDonald's of martial arts. There are chains on every corner, kind of a natural knack for it, but I never really had the confidence. My confidence was never really built. So it wasn't until I started lifting weights and improving my physical body that I realized that I could self-improve. And then I went from that to reading more about philosophy. I had started off with, I believe it was called Jeet Kune Do A to Z, which is not written by Bruce Lee. It was written by somebody else. If I can find it, I'll throw it up, I'm sure. That was also because that friend had asked me to pick him up a book once when I was going to a library to meet a chick. And that kind of started my journey of seeking knowledge and realizing that I can pick up a book and improve myself mentally by looking up information. And this is late 90s, so the internet wasn't quite as accessible as it is now. Back in my day. And then I was about 16, I read the Hagakure and Tao Te Ching and started really looking more into Eastern philosophy and really improving myself. And it was thanks to those actions that I built value to myself and subsequently was able to build value about myself to other people. And then, I joined the Marine Corps when I was 21 and et cetera, things I've gone over before. And currently in the industry I'm in, which if you follow me, is security, I have built up my value to the point where I'm fairly well connected in the area as far as my industry goes. Like the last job I had where I was managing the entire county for a company, I was able to fill all the positions and everything because of who I knew, despite the fact that they had low wages. So that brings me to my current situation. I'm now kind of at an impasse and I'm not sure where to go with this specifically. And really I'm sharing it because I'm hoping that anybody else that's going through a similar situation will understand and know you're not alone. And honestly, I see this in a lot of people in my kindred, as well as just people around me in general. I'm a pretty hard worker, pretty diligent. I have, like I said, built a pretty decent reputation in this area. I will be on 5 different payrolls pretty soon. I am on 4 right now, but working on the 5th. And once that's complete, I will actually be working for every single company that I've ever worked for in this area doing security except for one. Again, that is due to my reputation that I'm able to come back, and then I managed for one company that I came back to. I have worked so diligently, put in a ton of hours, forsaken sleep, forsaken time with my family. Honestly, right now I'm worried about the time I spend with my son and how much it's going to impact him if I'm not around enough. Honestly, I just want to be able to work 40 hours a week. But as it is, I went from a manager position where I worked so much, and that's actually one of the reasons that I wasn't able to post so much. I just worked so much that I wasn't home that much, or I might have to leave the drop of a hat. We did patient transports for multiple counties across the state, so I'd get calls like at 11 o'clock at night and I got to fill this transport really quickly. So making phone calls, trying to make things happen. And that has been a continuous thing where I will burn myself out. And whatever company I'm working for seems to not care. The value I have built, I think, shows in the people that I have worked with more closely. Whereas these corporate people that are removed from the situation in other counties, they're nowhere here in Humble, they seem to just be able to be like, oh, well, they're expendable. Oh, I'll just get another one. So when it comes time for me, where I'm looking for another job and then I find another job and I say, hey, I'm going to move along, they don't fight for me at all. I think that's a plight that our generation is going through.
I see in Fight Club the strongest and smartest men who've ever lived. I see all this potential, and I see it squandered. God damn it, an entire generation pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves with white collars. Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need. The middle children of history, man. No purpose or place. We have no Great War, no Great Depression. Our Great War is a spiritual war. Our Great Depression is our lives. We've all been raised on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars. But we won't. We're slowly learning that fact. And we're very, very pissed off.
I think that clip really sums it up. We have these aspirations, we have these dreams we're trying to achieve. Modern society isn't really built for the human mind, the human psyche, the human condition. And I think this is where some of the versus the modern world folks are going to agree with me. Modern society, and I'm not saying we should revert, but modern society is not built for who we are as animals, as people. Obviously, in the movie Fight Club, they became extremists and he had mental health issues due to being unhappy with his situations. A lot of us are going through mental health issues, issues with feeling our value, issues with not feeling worthy. Society perceives value as stuff.
More stuff.
As likes, as clicks, as these extremely Kardashianistic, shallow, vapid things. When actual value, actual worth is who you are. The torque on my wrist is a symbol of my kindred's value of me. It's not the object that is of value, it's the symbol. Like, you might not drive the nicest car, you might not have the latest, shiniest smartphone, but if you have good people around you, your value will show. And that has to be built. Obviously, if there's toxic people around you that put you down or they don't support you, then maybe it's time to find a new inner yard. And if that new inner yard has similar qualities, then it's time to look internally and think about, okay, what is it about me that draws in toxic people, or am I the toxic person? Like, working at the hospital, I would actually see people come in all the time and they'd have these issues, and the parent would be like not sure why their child has all these issues, and they're just like yelling at the kid, and you could tell that the environment was just very negative. That is not conducive to value. If that's the environment you're in, you might have to step away from it. If you can, obviously talk to the people first and try to stimulate a more positive environment, but people don't always react well to being told. They have to be guided, which is actually something I learned in a coaching class. So in summary, a strong inner yard, a strong kindred will value you and will help you value yourself, because they'll mirror that value. And we should always be striving toward that next plateau, that next achievement. And if you do have, because a lot of us come from Christian backgrounds, if you do have that martyr worshiper baggage of, I can only find value through this omnipresent being, it might take some steps to step away from that and to value who you are as a person. And if you're not where you want to be, you should be proud that you're on the journey of where you want to be. You should value the fact that you are taking those steps. I use the gym analogy. When I see a fat person in the gym, I don't think, oh, gross, a fat person in the gym. I think, that's awesome, they're actually trying to improve themselves. I'd say the same thing of a stupid person in the library, but it's a little harder to point out a stupid person. And shiny things are nice, but don't give in to those Kardashianistic, shallow, vapid things. Your worth will show in the people around you. We are the sum of our actions. Be better tomorrow than you were yesterday.
Oh man, it could be worse. A woman could cut off your penis while you're sleeping and toss it out the window of a moving car.
There's always that. I don't know, it's just when you buy furniture, you tell yourself, that's it, that's the last sofa I'm gonna need. Whatever else happens, I've got that sofa problem handled. I had it all. I had a stereo that was very decent, a wardrobe that was getting very respectable. I was close to being complete.
Man, now it's all gone.
All gone. All gone.
You know what a duvet is?
Comfort.
It's a blanket. Just a blanket. Now, why do guys like you and I know what a duvet is? Is this essential to our survival in the hunter-gatherer sense of the word? No. What are we then?
Consumers.
Right. We are consumers. We are byproducts of a lifestyle obsession. Murder, crime, poverty, these things don't concern me. What concerns me are celebrity magazines, television with 500 channels, some guy's name on my underwear. Rogaine, Viagra, Olestra.
Martha Stewart.
Fuck Martha Stewart. Martha's polishing the brass on the Titanic. It's all going down, man. So fuck off with your sofa units and string green stripe patterns. I say never be complete. I say stop being perfect. I say let's evolve. Let the chips fall where they may. that's me. And I could be wrong. Maybe it's a terrible tragedy.
It's just stuff. It's not tragedy.
Well, you did lose a lot of versatile solutions for modern living.
Fuck, you're right. No, it's... My insurance is probably gonna cover it. So. What?
Things you own end up owning you. But do what you like, man.
As per usual, Patreon, Subscribestar, all that stuff are down there. Teespring and Redbubble. Apparently with my Teespring, people need to buy stuff for me to actually show up in the search. So, yeah, you'll have to follow the direct link. It's kind of seems counterintuitive to me, but I think they're trying to protect themselves from copyright and stuff like that. Of course, all my stuff is hand-drawn, so. And I finally hit 100 subscribers. So, able to change my URL. I think it worked. I really appreciate everybody that watches my videos. Please comment if you disagree or if you had something more to add. So let's make it a discussion. Skull!
I would have been out here a little bit sooner, but they gave me the wrong dressing room, and I couldn't find any place to put my stuff. And I don't know how you are, but I need a place to put my stuff. So that's what I've been doing back there, just trying to find a place for my stuff. You know how important that is. That's the whole meaning of life, isn't it? Trying to find a place for your stuff. That's all your house is. Your house is just a place for your stuff. If you didn't have so much goddamn stuff, you wouldn't need a house. You could just walk around all the time. That's all your house is. It's a pile of stuff with a cover on it. You see that when you take off in an airplane and you look down and you see everybody's got a little pile of stuff. Everybody's got their own pile of stuff. And when you leave your stuff, you gotta lock it up. Wouldn't want somebody to come by and take some of your stuff. They always take the good stuff. They don't bother with that crap you're saving. Ain't nobody interested in your 4th grade arithmetic papers. They're looking for the good stuff. That's all your house is. It's a place to keep your stuff while you go out and get more stuff. Now, sometimes you've got to move. You got to get a bigger house. Why? Too much stuff. You've got to move all your stuff. And maybe put some of your stuff in storage. Now imagine that. There's a whole industry based on keeping an eye on your stuff. Enough about your stuff. Let's talk about other people's stuff. Did you ever notice when you go to somebody else's house, you never quite feel 100% at home? You know why? No room for your stuff. Somebody else's stuff is all over the place. And what awful stuff it is. Where did they get this stuff? And if you have to stay overnight at someone's house, you know, unexpectedly, and they give you a little room to sleep in that they don't use that often, someone died in it 11 years ago, and they haven't moved any of his stuff. Or wherever they give you to sleep, usually right near the bed, there's a dresser, and there's never any room on the dresser for your stuff. Someone else's shit is on the dresser. Have you noticed that their stuff is shit and your shit is stuff? Now, sometimes you go on vacation, you gotta bring some of your stuff with you. You can't bring all your stuff, just the stuff you really like. The stuff that fits you well that month. Let's say you're gonna go to Honolulu. You're gonna go all the way to Honolulu. You gotta take 2 big bags of stuff, plus your carry-on stuff, plus the stuff in your pockets. You get all the way to Honolulu and you get in your hotel room and you start to put away your stuff. That's the first thing you do in a hotel room is put away your stuff. I'll put some stuff in here, put some stuff down there. Here's another place for some stuff here. I'll put some stuff over there. You put your stuff over there. I'm putting my stuff over here. Here's another place for some stuff. Hey, we got more places than we've got stuff. We're gonna have to buy more stuff. Yeah. And you put all your stuff away, and you know that you're thousands of miles from home, and you don't quite feel at ease, but you know that you must be okay because you do have some of your stuff with you. And you relax in Honolulu on that basis. That's when your friend from Maui calls and says, hey, why don't you come over to Maui for the weekend? Spend a couple of nights over here. Oh, shit, no. Now what stuff do you bring? Right, you've got to bring an even smaller version of your stuff. Just enough stuff for a weekend on Maui. And you get over, and you're really spread out now. You've got shit all over the world. You've got stuff at home, stuff in storage, stuff in Honolulu, stuff in Maui, stuff in your pockets. Supply lines are getting longer and harder to maintain. But you get over to your friend's house in Maui and they give you a little place to sleep, and there's a little window ledge or some kind of a small shelf, and there's not much room on it, but it's okay because you don't have much stuff now. And you put what stuff you do have up there. You put your imported French toenail clippers, your odor readers with the 45-day guarantee, your cinnamon-flavored dental floss, and your Afrin 12-hour decongestant nasal spray. And even though you're a long way from home, you know that you must be okay because you do have your Afrin 12-hour decongestant nasal spray. And you relax in Maui on that basis. That's when your friend says, hey, I think tonight we'll go over the other side of the island and stay at my friend's house overnight. Oh, shit, no. No! What do you bring? Now you just bring the things you know you're gonna need. Money, keys, comb, wallet, lighter, hanky, pen, cigarettes, contraceptives, Vaseline, whips, chains, whistles, dildos, and a book.